evening, everybody. Good market to be trading in. As we can see, there's some indecisiveness in this uptrend. In the Dow, we've had a gap up, spinning top, a doji, but we're still above the 3T line, let alone the T line. S&P, same scenario, nice steady uptrend, indecisive. So here's the factors we have to contend with. Obviously we're in the overbought area. We're starting to show a little bit indecision, but not only are we trading up above the T line, we're still trading above the 3T line. Now that doesn't mean at any point in time we couldn't get a hard selling day where they could bring it back to the T line. But until that time, you stay long, but you have your safety stops in place. So this is the one factor that really influences whether I get nervous and start taking profits too early. The T line has just got that high probability factor that as long as we're above the T line, we're in an uptrend. Now that doesn't mean we couldn't see some selling back to the T line, but we have to just kind of assume we're still in an uptrend. You can see crude oil, it's kind of leveled out here at the $82 area. Let me run through these real quick. I'm going to be real quick because we got a ton of stuff to look at tonight. Gold still moving up. So the big money today was still in the electric vehicle sector. And this is what has dramatically improved my anxiety level through the years, is knowing that as long as I can see like a fry pan bottom, and as long as I know what the next pattern could be or the results of that pattern should be, I can now trade much more comfortably by knowing what the pattern setups are and where we are in relation to the T line. So somebody in private messaged me today and said, why do you always put so much emphasis on the T line? And the answer to that is, coming from being the worst investor in the world, when candlesticks came along, you could see pretty much the signals and the patterns that were putting you in the right direction at the right time. But there'd be times I'd get out of a position and say, all right, now let's use something that is much more relevant. And sometimes I'd get out of a position because I saw some selling. That was pre-T line, and the that's right, T line RRB is I would say, all right, I'm going to come out, and if it goes back up, I'll get back in. But usually what I did is I took that money and went someplace else, and it continued without me. Whereas now I can just sit and say, all right, as long as it doesn't close below the T line, I know there's an extremely, extremely high probability we're still in an uptrend. So now what that does is takes the emotions and the anxiety level out of my trading. If I am fortunate enough to get in something like this, I know I spend approximately, and this is not an under-exaggeration or an over-exaggeration, I spend approximately 3 seconds analyzing what to do on this chart every day if I was long. I know what I need to do to close out the position, and if it stays above the T line, I just stay with the position, which means that 3 seconds is analyzing this position, going on to the next one. So what were we doing? Oh, so here's how you put all the stars in alignment. If we could already see that the electric vehicle sector was coming on pretty strong, with the breakout of Lucid when it did this kind of double doji trend kicker breakout of a fry pan bottom, then there was profit taking, and now look at your doji sandwich J-hook pattern telling us wave 3 is in progress. So this is what kind of offsets that emotional decision making to say, oh man, I'm going to just take profits because it's way up here, versus saying, I know what the pattern is. I know that it's being supported. I'm going to stay long until wave 3 is done. So if we know a whole sector is acting strong, Fisher still working well, QuantumScape, not only does it have this fry pan bottom, and then we had, look how it came right back to the T-line, supported. We had a double doji, traded up, and that double doji gives us that 2+2 analysis. But if we see a positive open, we know they're going to trade positive. Likely the same magnitude as this, which means more than likely the 200 is not going to act as resistance. And it constantly puts us in situations where if we can see where the breakout is and we can see a signal right before that, this puts us in a position where if it does break out, we're participating in it. So it's not like we're trying to guess which ones are going to have the biggest price moves. We can pretty much evaluate the sector is strong and the patterns are strong. Oh, I meant to show on QuantumScape. Somebody was asking, how do you decide on which stocks you're going to trade long term? And that's kind of the same analysis. Here's a big fry pan bottom coming out the other side. And if we started buying down here and down here, because we can see what the bigger pattern is. There's a big fry pan bottom, and it's supporting on the 50, and now it's breaking out through the other side. Now it's broken out through this level. And what do we expect coming out of a fry pan bottom? A strong price move. Why is that? Because this is just a major buildup of investor sentiment. What was that? QuantumScape. Blank. Fuel cell. All in uptrends, all with a buildup of investor sentiment. And just observe the obvious. Whoops, too big. Right here, breaking out, getting up into the gap area, just has, and the fact that the whole sector board just creates the probabilities that we're in the right place at the right time. So I had a few questions today. People saying, well, what are we going to be doing with the T-line analysis that you have 500 charts that we're going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at all the nuances that you can get, just that quick visual analysis that allows you to make a much better decision on not only being in the right place at the right time, but which stocks, which stocks have the strongest potential upside. So when we saw the fry pan bottom, when we recommended BGFV right in here for the breakout, but then this is why I always say observe the obvious. Look where it pulled back to, right smack dab on the T-line and bounced. Now, again, why is that relevant to us? Because nobody has the T-line on their charts. It's a very, compelling support and resistance level of human nature. And as long as we know that, we can start doing the analysis that is greatly improved as far as what we're looking at, as far as making decisions. If I see a Morningstar signal bounce right off the T-line, breaking out of a fry pan bottom, I still suspect there's going to be a 45-degree off of here. Now, what do I do with that 45-degree? Well, it's already had a nice percentage move. Maybe I start buying spreads up here, which I already started doing. And instead of having to go up here to make big money, the spreads allow it just to go up here to make big money. So just advantages of knowing which direction the price is moving and the best strategy to take advantage of that. I like this chart. It didn't execute today. But look at your little scoop pattern, bullish engulfing, left-right combo, not a left-right combo, followed by a doji sandwich. I'm buying this one if it comes back up through this level, because what's it indicating? A scoop pattern with a doji sandwich implying there's more upside, high probability. Jim, do you happen to have the link? I'll find the link. It's this Saturday and Sunday. Now, they're full-day trainings. They're supposed to go from 10 to 2 or 2:30. We feel lucky if we get out before 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock on either day. But the whole point of this training is adding the T-line to our analysis. The candlestick signals are high probability trades. Pattern breakouts are high probability trades. Putting that together with the T-line and analyzing what type of signal and what type of pattern, what type of signal, and where is it to the T-line just dramatically enhances your probabilities of being in a big trade. It will be recorded, yes. Tom, is that it? Thank you. Let's see, what else do we do? We did fuel cell. Oh, we recommended III. That's 4 eyes. Because of the fry pan bottom, I'd be a buyer of this one on positive trading tomorrow. Your doji sandwich breakout of a fry pan bottom. Okay, we're still looking for Jace. Jace, are you in here tonight? Yeah, Jace, are you here? He's at least in the room. His question, is this getting a little bit iffy? Notice where your trend kicker signal continued the fry pan bottom. So this is the type of thing we want to learn, not be told what to do. That's why I was picking on Jace today, because he said, I don't want to guess, tell me what to do. If you see something like this in the overbought area, and you have a doji, the doji makes it very simple. If this opens lower and trades back down below today's low, you close out the position and bring it back to the T-line. What you want to do is see it open positive and start trading positive. Hut, just stay long. Sins, just stay long. Kirk. All these had good patterns. Observe the obvious. The look at your doji sandwich right on the T-line coming back up to do a bobble breakout. And ATHA, just stay long. Have a safety stop below the 200. Now remember what normal human reaction does. It's not unusual to see once they break through a resistance level, come back and test it to see if it's going to act as support. They may have done that yesterday. You stay long on this, you definitely want to see it get up through that level. Here is the one that I really like. And it doesn't do the chart on this. This just makes you want to kick your grandmother. See if I can bring it up over here. This fry pan bottom. Now, what's relevant about this fry pan bottom? You can see it setting up. You can see it break out. The pullback was indecisive. Now they're showing some strength. But what's the other relevant factor of this bottom? But if they get this thing moving to get up 25, 40, 60, 80, 100% is very, very possible. Look how fast they took it down. Now you're in a fry pan bottom. This could have tremendous upside potential. So here's the simple logic. If I see a fry pan bottom, and I think it could get back up to a level that would go up 8%, but if I can see another chart that looks just the same, and its potential is 80%, obviously I'm going to the one that has the biggest upside percentage potential. So this is one that if we know this is a fry pan bottom setting up, not only buying the calls or the stock, but maybe doing some spreads up here would be very beneficial. Does your Creed chart look like that in TOS as well? That I don't know. I don't use, and I don't know in Thinkorswim because I don't trade off of those charts. It looks like it up here, yeah, around 194 plus. Oh, is that what happened? All right, thank you, Jay. All right, so let's get rid of this. Anyways, that's a good-looking chart. On the short side, your bearish best friend, gap down below the T-line, failing at the 50. If you're short, stay short. If you're thinking of going short, would be a pretty good short if it comes back down through yesterday's or Friday's close. We did net. And here is something that somebody wanted me to explain was, did this mean anything? Again, this is the 2+2 analysis. Got a bearish Harami, a failure, closed below the T-line, and then it looked like it took off like a scalded dog. But look what finally happened. They brought it back down through the open and did a bearish doji sandwich below the T-line with a booster to it. And that booster means they were up here and they slammed it down. That's still heading for this direction and possibly down into this area. Yeah, 2+2 is just an expression to say the more pieces of evidence you can put on your visual analysis, the higher the probability you're in the right place at the right time. Blink, good strong chart because it's a charging company, electric car charging. CHPT. I'm trying to see who's spamming me tonight. Another J-hook type pattern. Wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading. And as far as the biggies, the money isn't really there. Netflix could still be shorted, especially if it comes down through today's low. Apple is just having a hard time getting out of its own way. Nothing there right now. Now, NVIDIA is well up in the overbought area, but hasn't shown anything yet to say the sellers have taken control. This might be a little bit of a concern right here, but as a safety stop, I'd have a stop right here because logic says if it comes back down to that level, they're probably bringing it back down to the T line. What did I just do? NVIDIA, did I do Netflix? Oh, I didn't do Amazon. Amazon also having a little bit of difficulty getting through this level. All right, so when you can add up all the I'll say factors, meaning if you can see a sector that's acting well, like the weed stocks, that means you can start looking at some of the other ones. But if they're buying these across the board, look at Crone with your best friend signal breakout. CGC, nothing there yet, but ACB, big bullish engulfing, off the 50. Where do you think your next likely target could be? Way up here to the 200. And the patterns. This is why I always like to go with a pattern, because not only does the pattern give you a high probability expectation of the direction, but the magnitude of the move is usually fairly strong. This one, Groupon, I wouldn't be afraid to be buying because of the scoop pattern, kind of a doji sandwich breakout, not even a doji sandwich, a trend kicker signal breakout. If this trades positive, a pretty good notion that this is going to have that slingshot effect to the upside. All right, thank you, Roy. Did a 23-200 reverse split. That's odd. CLR, doji sandwich up through the 50, closed above the T line. Makes this a very high probability. What do we expect coming from a doji sandwich? More upside. If there's more upside, what else is this telling us? That the T line's not acting as resistance and they're breaking this level. Probably wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. And Myra, I was commiserating to the options room today that I had calls on this because of the J-hook breakout, and it looked a little soggy on Friday. So I thought, all right, they're going to move it sideways to the T-line. So I closed them out and missed that trade. I've done that probably 4 times in the last few months that I can think of, that I lightened up on a position. There was a fry pan bottom breakout. This is where we come up with the fry pan bottom T-line rule. You just stay long as it doesn't close below the T-line. Well, they were reporting earnings. It didn't look good, so I lightened up. And then bam, look what it did after that. So that is an illustration to say, do as I say, not as I do. And so this one popped, and Riot has a trend kicker signal, fry pan bottom breakout. Would not be afraid to be buying this one either. Look at your bobble breakout right here. Now you got a fry pan bottom with a trend kicker signal implying more upside, which means more upside says the 200 is not going to act as resistance. IAG. Nice J-hook bobble breakout. Would not be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. A trend kicker is a kicker during a trend. I'm trying to think of one. I'll find one for you here in a second, Sally. I better do these before I forget them. ASPN, J-hook pattern, blue, classic pattern, fry pan bottom, J-hook. Now, again, the reason that even though some of these might not look real exciting, the probabilities of them working are extremely strong, number one. And number two, the magnitude of the move will usually be pretty strong. So there's your J-hook pattern again on IONQ. So would I be buying here? Maybe, maybe not. I'd be much more apt to be buying here because I can see that pattern setting up. So the reason we want to recognize the high probability patterns is that when we see something like this setting up, look at all the factors. They failed at the 200. They pulled back right smack dab to the T-line. They did kind of a best friend signal back up through the resistance level. If this opens positive, what do you got? You've got a bobble breakout that is likely to have the same magnitude move as this. Now, the reason that the bobble breakout is much more effective, or let's say has the potential of being much more effective than just a regular J-hook pattern, is if you took out the 200, this is just a J-hook pattern. The fact that it's doing it at a level that everybody else is watching, we can see what type of pattern is setting up. Everybody else is watching to see what it's going to do with the 200. So if this opened positive, we don't have to have that concern about getting in right away. We can get in right away because we know the probabilities are pretty strong. Everybody else is going to start piling in once they see the 200's not acting as resistance anymore. Same situation right here. There's your bobble breakout on grow. CCJ. Here's your best friend. There's your double doji, and there's the fact that it came right smack dab to the T-line and bounced up. So where would you be buying this one tomorrow? I just watch. If they opened it positive, probably want to go after it. Yeah, okay. Whose handwriting is this? There's your nice breakout with a best friend. That's GRWG. That one I wouldn't be afraid to go after on positive trading. And CPE is also indicative. There's your bullish doji sandwich, breakout through this level. Pretty high probability you're in wave 3. So anytime you see a whole sector moving, Apache, Occidental, not Occidental so much, EOG, wave 3, pretty much telling you that that sector is being bought across the board, and it's mainly due to the fact that crude oil prices aren't backing off any. They're still up in the 80s. Big C is, uh-oh, what did I do? I think that's Big C. Big C, best friend. This is when we do our sessions on the top rank signals and patterns, that I tell people, instead of trying to overload yourself and learning all the signals and patterns from the get-go, pick out 3 or 4 that you really recognize and learn them very well. So the best friend signal has expected results. Once you learn a few signals extremely well, now you're not at the mercy of listening to other people or listening to the talking heads. I have so many lines on here. What the heck is going on? Somebody was asking today whether they should take profits on this one. And the answer is no. If you know what your pattern is telling you, in this case, they can't close it below the T line. They've done a J-hook pattern. We can kind of calculate now, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 is still a good strong uptrend. So I'm cleaning this out. Riot was a trend kicker. Okay. Yes, Sally. This is a trend kicker signal. Notice that your trend has already started. It's not a reversal at the bottom. But you have a kicker signal during the trend. That usually implies there's a lot more upside. Thank you, Will. We also want to take advantage of the information built into signals and patterns and trends. This is what you call the T-line crunch. Notice how they can't close it below the T-line, and it's crunching it right up into the resistance level. If this opens positive tomorrow, that means there's going to be a lot more upside because of that crunching, the T-line crunching that price up into that resistance level. AL, that's a trend kicker signal. Notice your dark candle in the trend, and then you gap it up and go the opposite direction, implies there's a lot more upside. TLIS, there's your kicker signal. Another one that you can get ready to buy. Just if you buy this on positive trading, you want to watch to see what happens once they get to the 50. You want to see it break out through that level. Did I do this one? PLIS. Whoops. Did that one, all right. And then trade desk, there is the kicker signal. That I would expect a 45 degree. So this is a type of chart that even though it's moved up big, there's probably some very effective option strategies to go into that one. Hola, that's a trend kicker breakout. Did I just do that one? There's a nice fry pan bottom, an INSG. So there's still a lot of good looking charts, but the reason we concentrate on the signals and patterns is because the result of a pattern is going to be much higher probability it's going to move in the direction you expect it to, number one. Number two, the magnitude of the move is going to be much greater than just a uptrending stock in an uptrending market. That's a trend. Did we do this one already? Beam. Look at your trend kicker signal. Whoops. Kind of completing a fry pan bottom. So not only did they do a trend kicker signal, they did it right at a resistance level everybody else was watching. That's a strong indication there's going to be more upside. Oh. Quote, kind of your belt hold type signal, scoop type signal. I wouldn't be afraid to be buying this one on positive trading tomorrow. 3D. Oh, did they announce earnings? We wrote this one down earlier. I think they were trading down here after hours. And MGI. MGI. This is the type you want to keep watching for. Kind of your little cradle pattern with the best friend signal. That has very high degree probabilities that they're going to come back up, at least up into this range, which would be a very decent percentage. So this market is providing some very good trades, even in the I've been getting requests to do commodity trading. We'll do another session on successful commodity trading with candlesticks some night pretty soon. And there was something else I was supposed to announce, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, people were bringing up CAN today. Not quite a kicker signal, but it is a nice rounding bottom or slow curve. So anytime you see that slow curve setup, that's usually an indication they could be ready to break this out. Okay. Guess that's all I've got for tonight. Obviously making some very good money on the electric vehicle sector. Even more conservatively, Ford Motor Company is still a nice long-term chart. All right. Are there any, I don't know what the target is. On this one, I'm just holding it long term. When we first started buying it way down here in the, I think about the $6 or $8 range, my mental target was somewhere around 24 in maybe 1 or 2 years. Constantine, no, you didn't do anything wrong. Except the only factor would have been that it didn't close below the T-line. So I would have given it one more day, not expecting this. How do you look at a gap up above the 50 or 200? Example, Alcoa. And it didn't really pull back. It's kind of supported at this level. I'd still be a buyer of this on positive trading tomorrow. Okay, are there, again, any general questions on candlesticks? The bond prices continue to move higher, which means rates are staying down. Let's see, Harry, you see any pattern? Not any pattern, but you got kind of a J-hook pattern. So I would suspect they're coming back up to test this level. On trade desk, yeah, the magnitude of the move might warrant some profit taking, but if it opens lower and trades lower, I'd be ready to buy it back when it comes back up through this level. Because until it does that, the probabilities are it's not going anywhere until they breach that high. Is there an electric vehicle sector portfolio folder? I think there is. I think it's down. Who was asking that? Pat? If you go down, up, you can't see it there. Down to the very right-hand bottom corner of this, your chat room page, there's a folder there. Jim, is there a list of the those stocks that we watch? I'm pretty sure there is. Was it right to sell right on Friday? Goes below the T-line. That's the final criteria. I wouldn't have, because look where your doji is. It's not up in the overbought area. You just started your uptrend. So, yeah, this only becomes a factor when your stochastics are well up into the overbought area. Jace, are you in here? Get him. You're up here in the overbought area, that far away from the T-line, and now you have a doji. That's much more relevant than if you see a doji right in here. Okay. Yeah, so there was a lot of electric vehicle stocks. I would still be a buyer of Nikola on positive trading, kind of your stick sandwich bobbling right here at the 200. All right. On gold, gold is starting to move back up. This is your December contract. You can see that's picking up steam. And silver, kind of the same scenario. Look where it bounced right off the 50. Where do you think the next target's going to be? Up here. Is that on the electric vehicle? All right, nothing yet. I'd probably be more aggressive if it gets up through the 50. Oh, okay. I will do that tomorrow. Okay. Oh, I forgot Tesla. That was the other one that I knew there was another biggie. Notice the doji sell-off. Now, if this trades lower tomorrow, that means they're profit taking. And this is where you can put anything you want to on your chart to see where it might move to. Might move back here, could move back here. Or you could take the Fibonacci retracement number and do this. Say, all right, it could move back here, here, or here. But the important factor is we're going to watch to see what everybody else might be watching if it trades lower, and then watch to see what type of signal occurs when it does to get to that level. All right, let's see. Okay. So you got to wonder, why would you tweet out for everybody to ask them whether he should sell 10% of his stock? That's just... All right. I guess with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 3.6 seconds, do the next double line. F-slide. Not anything to get right home about right now. If you're long, you can stay long, but it needs to stay above the T-line. I'd be someplace else. So check charge point, buy on positive trading. Same thing with blank, buy on positive trading. SERS held up. Whoops. CERS. Oops, was holding up. If this opens lower tomorrow, you close it out because it's probably coming back. Notice your doji, shooting star. If they trade it lower, they're profit taking back to the T-line. PROG. You can stay long, just don't let it close below the T-line. CCXI, having a hard time getting going, but if you're long, you stay long. Obviously, you want to see it break out through this level. CBAT. Breakout, read the news, see whether it warrants staying in it or buying on the breakout. AGC. You can buy this one. You got inverted hammer doji. You can start buying this one on strength, your J-hook pattern. That's true too. Yep. Oh, all you can do is stay long, but you have your safety stop at today's low. You gapped up in the overbought area. Don't want to see it pull back through that level. Whoops. EMAC. Nice fry pan bottom. I'd be a buyer if it comes back up through today's open. I would tell you the profit taking's over. This one I would suspect is heading for the 200 after supporting on the 50. Mavis. Stay long. You can still buy this one. INFY. That one you can buy. It looks like it doesn't have a lot of volume. That's why it's so choppy. But you could buy that one on strength if you like it. FedEx. Just stay long. J-hook pattern. First target right in here, and then possibly the 200. Marvell. Just stay long. Put your safety stop at today's open. Upworks. Get ready to go short. Look at your bearish engulfing failure. I'd be ready to short this one on weakness, anticipating wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. Ralph, you're ahead of me. Yes, short. Safety stop here, the T-line. You don't want to see it come back up through there. SMG, 45 degree, after your best friend signal. Zenga, stay short. Zenga on E. I don't know. Real. You can buy this one on positive trading, a bullish doji sandwich breakout. RGS, nothing. That's a excellent nothing chart, Peter. This one you would have stopped out because it came back down below the low of the previous day. That means there's still profit taking going on. NVIDIA, you stay long, but put your safety stop right here. If it came back down through there, that negated your 45 degree. Fuel cell, stay long. Whoops. Stay long, especially if it opens positive tomorrow. This one, you can see the message, but you have a doji today. So that makes tomorrow's trading extremely simple. If it opens lower, you close it out. It needs to open positive and trade positive. CrowdStrike, you can use the T-line as your stop. PPSI, read what the news was that created that move. Okay. And T-Mobile, if you're long, it has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, that's kind of a nothing chart. EVGO, be ready to buy this one on positive trading also. On TC2000, look at IX214 for electronic components. Oh boy, David, I wouldn't be able to pull that up on here right now. SKLZ, that's kind of your classic pattern. Fry pan, J-hook. Next likely target could be the 200. That could be true. And I guess if you have that much money, you can do pretty much what you want to. You won't starve. AMRS, the failure, just stays short. I would watch to see if they're going to bring them back down to this level. AMC, you can be buying this one. Except did they announce earnings? Are they trading lower after hours? Any? That one you can buy. Obviously support, and then you want to see what happens at this level. EXPE. Just stay long. Kind of your bullish flutter kicker off the 50 through this level. I would suspect more upside. Again, that's a very strong chart indication. Oh boy, this one, if you're short, you stay short. If I was short, I'd just have the I stop at the T line. Oh, gapped up? All right. Well, that one is then a toughie. You have to see what it does after it opens. Alcoa. Get ready to buy on positive trading. AB&B. Look for a 45 degree. Yes. It's a red candle. I'm trying to think of the last one we did. It gaps way up and then creates a dark or red candle. That's the profit taking after it gapped up. But the message was they gapped it up. All right. Oh, okay. All right. And then I think there was another one, ENS. Also is going to be rolling out electric charging stations. On advanced micro, well, you got to be careful. Look where most people buy. They buy exuberantly at the top, and look how far away you're starting to move from the T line. I'd have a safety stop probably right now at the halfway point of today's candle. Because of that exuberance. Hood, you've got a downtrend and the 50. If you're buying this, you just have to watch to see what it does at this level. That wouldn't be on my list to buy. And there's nothing wildly exciting about this one either, RK. All right, so when they gap up something like that after hours, yeah, you really have to see what everybody wants to do. No, that's not a message. A message is a gap up. This is just a big bearish reversal. ATER, all right, gapping that one up. Sends, you can still be buying this one on positive trading. Definitely want to see it get up through this level, but you got a kind of a little J-hook pattern to get you there. Let me try to think of which one was the message. No. No, darn. Oh, bed. Yes, that's the message. Opened up here and closed down here. Not a good looking chart. But the message was they gapped it up. So what do we look for a profitable trade setup? Watch to see when the selling stops. That was with a doji. So now we want to make sure this message heads in this direction, which will be a good indication of what they do tomorrow. And that's somewhat of a message also. So they gapped it up, took it down, and it's not your pure message. I'm trying to think. We made some good money on one not too long ago, and I can't remember which one it was. All right, but this is why we've been kind of advocating some of these electric vehicle stocks like QuantumScape, because it was doing this, and we knew on any given day, all they had to do was come out with something, and it could pop the stock, which, in case this was one of them that popped today because of, I think they announced they've expanded their campus, which meant their manufacturing facilities. Okay, the weather is getting a little bit nasty, so we're going to be doing a lot more Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday night training. We've got one scheduled for a Saturday, not in a too long distance future, on excellent day trade setups. And people have been requesting commodity trading, so we're going to be doing those. Is there a general outcome of a fry pan bottom, such as QuantumScape, where it may come down for a while? Well, WB, the whole point of looking for a fry pan bottom is that it's not going to come down. Now that is a message, yes. Now if you see this start stopping this downtrend and start back up, remember the message was they were trying to get into this with great enthusiasm. And Funko, that's yeah, somewhat of a message. Unfortunately, that's more not a breakout. It's kind of just came back up to the resistance level. Hold on. I think I even wrote down one. Will. Yeah, I can't find it. We'll do a session on the message AUTL. Yes, that is a message. So you wait to see when the profit taking's over. Okay, everybody. Whoops, right about on time. We'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.